Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. The natural constitution, fitra, and its perfection through prophecy. The natural constitution, fitra, in Ibn Taymiyyah's thought, is an innate faculty or knowledge that is closely linked to reason, aql, but it is difficult to pinpoint the exact relationship. The Sheikh occasionally uses aql and fitra or their derivatives in parallel. In other places, the natural constitution appears to be the basis for reason. For example, the Sheikh speaks of the rational methods al-turuq al-aqliya that people endowed with reason know by their natural constitutions. Nubuwa, page 76. And he writes, what is intended by the term object of reason, ma'qul, is the clear object of reason that people know by their natural constitutions upon which they have been naturally constituted. Jawab, volume 4, page 395. However, the following statement could be cited to support the opposite thesis that reason is the basis of the natural constitution. Rational propositions, al-qadaya, al-aqliya, are the foundations of the natural constitutions of people endowed with reason. Usul fitr al-uqula. Majmu al-Fatawa, volume 12, page 229. Many of the same things that Ibn Taymiyyah says are known by reason are also known by the natural constitution. These include the basic rules of thought. God has placed knowledge of likeness and difference in the natural constitution. Jahad, volume 9, page 242, and Mantiqeen, page 382. It is known by the natural constitution that a body or person cannot be in two places at once. The Sheikh adds that if in fact it appears that a person is in two places simultaneously, then one of the appearances is actually that of a jinn who has adopted the form of the person. His book Jawab, volume 4, 397, page number. As with the reason, the Sheikh also frequently claims that the existence of the Creator is known by the natural constitution through direct cosmological proofs. All human beings in their natural constitutions know necessarily that the creature needs a creator, maker and governor, mudabbir, and that an originated event needs an originator. Something possible needs a preponderator, murajjah, to tip the scales in favor of its existence over its non-existence. This fundamental affirmation of external determinative causality, or what may be called the principle of preponderance, corresponds to humanity's fundamental felt need for and dependence upon God. His book Furqan, Majmu Fatawa, and also see Wujub Irada, Dar, and other books. Even the insane are aware of their need for a creator. And this he writes in his book Fitra. And also he claims this in Hamawiya in volume 5 and 15 number page. And he also wrote in Hamawiya that it is known by the natural constitution that God is above the sky. While Halak, in an article on Ibn Taymiyyah's proofs for God's existence, points out that the Sheikh's views of the natural constitution appear inconsistent. Ibn Taymiyyah sometimes presents the natural constitution as a means or faculty for knowing necessarily from created things that they must have a creator. Created things are signs pointing immediately to God. At other times, however, he regards the natural constitution as an inborn knowledge of God, requiring no evidence whatsoever. In this way, he argues that natural constitutions must know the Creator without signs. And quote, if the natural constitutions had not known him apart from the signs, they would not have known that these signs pointed to him. And this he has written in Fi Wujub and also in Majmu' al-Fatawa. And also, Halak has noted this in Ibn Taymiyyah on the existence of God. Halak observes that the later argument is circular and that it contradicts the former. Further investigation shows that Ibn Taymiyyah probed the matter more deeply, especially in the direction of the natural constitution being a faculty, yet one that necessarily entails knowledge of the Creator without science. To examine this, it is helpful to begin with the textual basis for the doctrine of the natural constitution, a hadith found in the collections of Bukhari and Muslim. Every newborn is born with the same natural constitution. Then his parents make him a Jew, Christian, or Zoroastrian. This is like an animal that bears another that is perfect of limb. Do you see any mutilation in it? Then Abu Huraira ta'ala anhu said, if you wish, recite the natural constitution fitra of God according to which he has constituted fatra, humanity. Chapter 30, verse 30. The Shaykh interprets the natural constitution in this hadith to be the religion of Islam, and he connects this to the covenant God made with all humanity in primordial time. The Lord said, am I not your Lord? They said, yes, indeed. Chapter 7, verse 172. However, he explains that this Islam does not exist in actuality, bil fa'al, at birth, because the newborn does not have knowledge of anything. Yet, as his innate potency, quwwah of knowledge, and will become active. The knowledge of God that the natural constitution entails arises as well, so long as there are no impediments. And this he writes in his book, Dar, volume 8, page 460. Also, check Majmul Fatawa. In a part of Dar, not accessible to Halak, Ibn Taymiyyah observes that teaching is not a sufficient condition for imparting knowledge. And this he writes also in Dar. Halak uses Muwafaqat Sahih al-Manqul Sarih al-Ma'qul of Muhammad Muhyiddin Abdul Hamid and Muhammad Hamid al-Fiqi, Cairo. Matbat al-Sunnah al-Muhammadiyah, which corresponds to Dar. Teaching animals and inanimate objects does not yield the same results as teaching human beings. There must be a potency entailing knowledge and will that is receptive to what is taught. And this potency is created so as to preponderate the true religion over any other. It is possible that inner voices, khawatir, in the soul alerted to the true religion without external teaching and apart from corrupting influences. This will indeed happen. To deal with the problem of circularity, the Sheikh still has a resort to external determinative causes. He says that these inner voices arise through the inspiration of an angel or other causes, asbab, that God originates. Yet he insists that they do not arise from human teaching and calling. Guidance through human intermediaries is not a necessary condition for knowing the true religion. Ibn Taymiyyah compares the natural constitution to an infant's instinct for his mother's milk. If nothing impedes the infant, such as illness in himself or his mother, he will necessarily drink. The Sheikh adds that the natural constitution to believe in God is even stronger than the infant's instinct. And this he writes in Dar and also in Mahabba. Ibn Taymiyyah gives angels the role of bringing forth all the motion in the universe that lies outside the capability of humans, jinns, and animals. In Ibn Taymiyyah's view, the natural constitution also dictates what is good for humans to do and love. God has constituted humans to will naturally what is profitable for them and repel what is harmful. The human being has been naturally constituted to will what he must inevitably have and to hate what harms him and injures him. This corresponds to loving what is good and right and hating what is bad and wrong. Justice, adl, is good because it is beloved to the natural constitution and yields pleasure, joy, and profit to oneself and others. Injustice, zulum, is bad because the natural constitution knows that it is hateful and causes pain, trouble, and torment. Humans have been naturally constituted to love and find pleasure in justice, truthfulness, beneficence, and knowledge, just as they have been naturally constituted to find pleasure in food and drink. Moreover, God has naturally constituted human beings to love and worship Him alone. To be willing being is essential concomitant of the natural constitution. A willing being necessarily has a God toward which it directs its love and which it loves for itself. Apart from corrupting influences, this ultimate object of the natural constitution's will and love will be God. Thus, a child left on his own will necessarily come to know, praise, love, and worship his Lord. In Dar, Ibn Taymiyyah sums up the religion of the natural constitution in terms of exclusive worship of God as the end for which creatures are created, and the lawfulness of good things as the means towards this end. End quote. The foundation of the religion upon which God naturally constituted his servants, as he said, I have created my servants original believers, Hunafa. Then Satan turned them away, forbade them what I had made lawful for them, and commanded them to associate to me that to which I had not given authority. This combines two foundations. The first of them is worship of God alone without associate. He is worshipped only through what he loves and has commanded. This is the objective for which God created creatures. Contrary to this is associationism and innovation. Second is the lawfulness of agreeable things, tayyibat, in which help is sought toward the objective. This is the means, wasila. Contrary to this is forbidding the lawful. Despite Ibn Taymiyyah's optimistic view of the natural constitution's ability to know God and the purpose of worship for which it was created, the above quotation also indicates that it may become corrupted by Satan's shayateen. In scattered references, the Sheikh cites many things that may corrupt the natural constitution. In addition to Satan's from among humans and jinn, ignorance and heedlessness plays a detrimental role. As noted in the hadith on the natural constitution, parents may make a child a Jew, Christian, or Zoroastrian. Also, vain doctrines may corrupt the natural constitution, like a wheel blocking the eyesight from seeing the sun. Pride, ill purposes, and divided love for God all exert their corrupting influences. In view of corrupted natural constitutions, Ibn Taymiyyah notes that one of the best ways to reach necessary knowledge is through purifying the soul and spiritual disciplines. Inferential methods may also be needed and even obligatory to discern the existence of the Creator. And this he writes in Fitra. However, Ibn Taymiyyah distinguishes between the invalid rational inquiry, nazar of kalam theology on the one hand, and the valid nazar of examining the guidance brought by the messenger and inferring the Creator from the existence of the human being on the other. And this he done in Nubuwah and Marij. It is in fact part of the role of messengers, the Quran and the Sunnah, to make the correct rational proofs obvious to those whose natural constitutions have become corrupt. In addition to revealing details of the law that cannot be known by the natural constitution, messengers have been sent to those who have suffered corruption in order to set the natural constitution back on the right path and complete and perfect it. The following passage from Ibn Taymiyyah's Nubuwah elaborates this. The Prophet, he and the rest of the believers inform only of the truth. They command only justice. They command the right and they prohibit the wrong. They were raised up to perfect the natural constitution and firmly establish it, not to replace it and change it. They command only what agrees with what is right to rational minds, which pure hearts accept with receptivity. So too they themselves did not differ, and they did not contradict one another. Rather, their religion and their faith were one, even if the laws were of diverse kinds. They also agree with the obligation of the natural constitution according to which God constituted his servants. They agree with rational proofs and does not contradict them at all. The prophets perfected the natural constitution and made humankind see. As has been said concerning the description of Muhammad alayhi salatu wasalam, that through him God opens the eyes of the blind, the ears of the deaf, and hearts that are closed. Their opponents corrupted sense perception and reason, just as they have corrupted the proofs of revelation. A similar passage in another work points to the role of messengers in perfecting the natural constitution for the sake of blessing in paradise. And this is in Ihtijaj. And quote, God exalted is He, raised up the messengers to perfect the natural constitution. They indicated to human beings that by which they obtain blessing in the hereafter and are saved from the chastisement of the hereafter. The difference between what is commanded and what is forbidden is like the difference between paradise and the fire, pleasure and pain, and blessing and chastisement. Quote end. The role then of prophets and messengers for Ibn Taymiyyah is purifying humans of corrupting influences and perfecting the natural constitution in which they were created, which is to love God alone and dedicate their religion solely to Him. This involves pointing to what is known to be just and right in reason and guiding them on the path to paradise. Prophecy and revelation are fully congruent with and the perfection of what all human beings have naturally constituted within them.